Hello, everyone. It's great to be here tonight. And I want to welcome anyone who has been, has joined us and who's going to join us and who's going to be listening to us later on YouTube. And I'd love for all of you to share with us the incredible knowledge and information that we impart to so many people all over the world. We're in very exciting times because I think people finally realize that we are on the precipice in medicine. And I think physicians are realizing what they're doing isn't effectively working and it's not creating proper health span. It's one thing to live to 85, but if you don't have your health, you have nothing. And, I started practicing medicine 38 years ago. And I started actually with a registered dietitian in my office. And at the beginning, I specialized in weight loss because that was a good way to get patients. And back then, people wanted to lose weight. And now today, of course, it's exponentially grown because we have not taught patients how to live a lifestyle that's going to create the best functional human. And so I, started out trying things so long ago. And I always tell people I'm the queen of experimentation. And I have a couple of girlfriends who love functional integrative medicine. And they're, one's from Canada and one lives in Oregon, used to be in California and moved to Oregon. And so they're always sending me things. Everyone's always all over telling me things and I should try. And so I have curated a lot of things here tonight. Obviously, this is not everything that we have and everything that possibly a patient might need. But in today's world, we're counterbalancing civilization. And 50 years ago, we didn't have EMFs. 50 years ago, we didn't have the toxicity. 50 years ago, we didn't have all the bombardment of negative energy that we have in air pollution, water pollution, food pollution, electrical pollution. And so now we all have to counterbalance our little sanctuary at home to create the best, living space possible. And in your office, it's the kind of thing. In fact, in my office here, I'm going to be doing some biogeometry balancing of energy here in the clinic. And so because I found this Egyptian architect recently, and oh my gosh, he's done the most amazing stuff with EMFs and everything. And so everything around us, unfortunately is not good for us. The lights aren't good. It just goes on and on. So today you have to become equipped and you have to become knowledgeable about how you need to protect yourself and take care of yourself. So let's see, we can start to, Okay, so like I said, I have been, I always go and take a deep dive into everything that we use and recommend. And because I'm doing this so long, I've had the privilege and the opportunity to look at everything and compare it to so many different other things. And there's not just always one perfect thing, but when you try to find the best case scenario for everything, it's going to enhance your life. And so, and I think in this day and time, health is something that should be everyone's number one value because your entire life is dependent upon the health you have and the health that you need to keep and the health that you want to have tomorrow. And in today's world, we're in an existential crisis with every single age group being ill, and that's just not okay and that's not right. And we here at the clinic are constantly educating and inspiring and really empowering people to change their lives, to look at their life, and to really make health their number one priority. And it's funny because a lot of patients I see here, they get diagnosed with cancer, and then all of a sudden their health becomes front and center. And I know we have patients listening that already have the diagnosis of cancer, and that's what they've done, is they've done a deep dive to examine their health and all the things that we need to do. And then there's people now, because a significant other has gotten sick, so it has prompted them to take a really close look of their entire existence and see what they need to do to get healthy. So we're always here. I'm always doing podcast, and we do this question and answer. We have always a special guest. We have lots of great speakers for next year. And so thank you for partnering with us and sharing this vital information and knowledge to everyone around. So one of the things, the latest thing that we just launched, and we're the first people in the United States to launch the MyCell products. Now, a couple of the products, the vitamin C and the propolis, the demand has been so intense that, of course, we've run out. And so we are now in the process of rectifying that. But these products are unique because I always tell people it's all about absorption. And this has a 95 to 99% absorption to the cell, whereas most things you take orally, it's somewhere between 8 and 15%. And these are drops, so they're very easy to do. And, a couple of drops, I take a couple of drops of vitamin C. I take a couple of drops of curcumin in the morning. And my husband got sick with a little sore throat last week. And so it immediately goes to his chest. So I gave him the vitamin C twice a day, and he was able to get rid of it without taking antibiotics. And I will double the dose up if I get sick. But these are amazing products. You'll see we have the coenzyme Q10, we have the D3, the frankincense, and the Ganoderma is a special immune product. And this is not only, your immune system is everything. With any disease process, the immune system is everything. And in my book coming out next year, I talk, one of the chapters is on the immune system. And as we age, our immune system, we have something called immune senescence. And so it's very important that all of us in this day and time to keep our immune system optimal. And so this product I found to be good. I don't take it all the time, but if I get sick, if I feel something coming on, I will take it. And then some of the cancer patients, I utilize it. Now, one thing that all of us need probably from 25 on is collagen. And I'm always trying collagen products because it's something you need to take every day. I remember years ago, my daughter's 30, and she asked me, like, Mom, look, I already have wrinkles. This was like she was 25. And so anyway, I quickly looked on the internet about when people start losing collagen, and they actually start losing collagen in their early 20s. And so collagen is made up of your skin, your hair, your joints, all your tissues. So collagen is something probably we need to replenish on a daily basis. Now, one of the things, if you drink bone broth, it's a great option also. And but that's not always available. So, collagen is something that you want to do on a regular basis. I take it every day, every morning I take it. And I like things that don't have a taste, and this does not have a taste. So one thing I tell people they have to have is water filtration. Our water is filled with chemicals, toxins, halogens, which is chlorine, fluorine, other halogens, and like bromide. It's full of medications, everything from blood pressure medicine to birth control pills to chemotherapy. It's all, unfortunately, in the water. And in fact, 2 weeks ago, I was reading there was some new chemical I'd never even heard of that's in the water. So you've got to have water filtration for either your whole house, your sink, your shower. I mean, it's something that's not optional. Now, another option is spring water. Spring water is also, if you live local to a local spring in glass bottles, not plastic, that's also a good option. So the whole house water system That's what I have at my house. And I've had whole house filtration for probably 25 years. And I used a device, a very large device from Japan a long time ago, and then that company was no longer around. So I've been using the Echo whole house system ever since. And then I have on my kitchen, I have another cleansing for, for when I'm cooking. And then I have my my hydrogen water bottle also that I use on a regular basis. So if you are renting, I bought my kids the AquaTrue reverse osmosis water filtration system. So that's what I bought for them, and a shower filter, because they rent, and so they need something that is easy that can go with them. So that's a substitute for something for, unless you don't, if you don't have your own house, or you're renting, or you're on the go. So then, because indoor pollution is worse than outdoor pollution, you've got to have air purifiers. So in the clinic here, we have, oh gosh, I don't even know how many air purifiers, but a lot of air purifiers. So that's something you should invest in. Though I've studied all of these, and the Austin air purifier is by far one of the best purifiers that you can have. And it's something, it's just one of those things. Like I said, it's your counter protection plan for living in the world we're living in today. Now, I have a picture of the Propolis air diffuser. So I have that in my bathroom also, because mold is part of building in office buildings and in houses. And so propolis is the outside covering of a beehive. And so it is what protects the beehive. And so propolis is like curcumin, is one of those very, very multifunctional substances, because you can take propolis as part of the micelle technology, and I use it for viruses and mold and for EMF protection. And but propolis diffuser is if you have mold in your house and or other pollutants, propolis is an attractant to mold and the pollutant, so it's a great thing to have. So a lot of our patients, when I do the special blood test to check for mold, I find mold, so I tell them the place they spend the most amount of time to have a propolis diffuser. So it's timed, it goes off and on, it's dispersed into the air, and then it shuts down, and then it has a rotation that it does that. Now, then you have the cartridges. And then, if you think about, we wash our dishes, and a lot of the dishwasher cleaners are terrible. And so this special cleaner is great for the dishwasher. And then, of course, laundry soap too. A lot of it has lots of chemicals in it. So I always use a good old standby, besides the Zum laundry soap, is good old borax. I think that's been around since, over 100 years. So I use that too, a combination.
Let's go back to the EMF dots.
Oh, okay, yes, the EMFs. Okay, well, EMFs, unfortunately are a part of our life today, and I'm always, it's something I became personally interested in probably 17 years ago. And because my daughter was doing a science experiment on how electromagnetic fields affect a living substance. So this lady who wrote a book, I forget the name of her book, Teresa, and she wrote a book, and then she created these. She's a scientist, so she had this amazing book. And if you haven't read or studied on EMFs, you should. Probably the single best book on electromagnetic fields is a book called The Invisible Rainbow by Arthur Furstenberg. And you need to understand that we're electrical energy beings, and that these electromagnetic fields, people say, oh, they're nothing. That is not true. There are thousands of scientific publications. Go do your own homework. I do homework all the time on this particular topic, because the earth is blanketed, the cell towers, we're just constantly bombarded with negative man-made energies. And so these are great little things that you can put on your computers and phones. And I, like I said, I'm constantly looking at new things. So because things get better all the time, right? I mean, there's always an update to something. So toothpaste, the girls in the Perfectly Healthy store, they love the toothpaste and the mouthwash. These are great non-toxic because most of the toothpaste has fluoride in it. And fluoride's been in the news quite some time now because they want to take it out of, well, there's some states that want to take it out of the water. But let me explain to you why fluoride is bad. First of all, I was talking about fluoride like 35 years ago, okay? It was in rat poison. And fluoride is in the chemical group of halogens. And halogens, fluoride, chloride, iodine, bromide, what they do is we need iodine in our body. So if we take in halogens, it's displacing our natural iodine that we need for all of our cells, especially our thyroid. And so these extra chemicals do not help us in any form or fashion. They're basically displacing our iodine that we need for our cells to work. And so you don't want to use toothpaste with fluoride in it. So this is a great one. I hope to be making my own toothpaste. I had a great idea. I already told the girls about it. And I want to do it because, when I get on something, I, go down the rabbit holes and explore it and learn all the good things about it. So anyway, so hopefully in 2025, I will do that and I will let you know when it happens. Now, it's interesting because this next product, the Bath Detox, okay, this is a product I've used for, 20, 25 years. So a lot of people have early kidney failure and they really don't know it because their doctor doesn't inform them. So how do you know if you're in kidney failure? Well, you look at your blood test and you look at the BUN and the creatinine, and then the next number is something called the EGFR, estimated glomerular filtration rate. So ideally you'd want that number 100, but once it gets below 80, which would be 79, you're starting to experience early kidney failure. So the kidneys are, in the mid-back, and they look like, little bean pods. And on top of them sit the adrenal glands. And so it's very important because what does your kidney do? Your kidney is an organ of filtration. Just like your liver has 500 functions. You got to take care of your liver. And your kidneys don't like the liver, I will say, helps grow back very well, and replenish itself. But the kidneys are not. They're really tight organs. And, it's very much more work to regenerate the kidney function. So if people's creatinine is high, this also is it's an herbal formulation. You put it in the bathtub and it's amazing to help regenerate the kidney and get the kidney function. So this is so the next time you do your blood, check your EGFR. I'll have Ryan send out a whole thing on this because I think what I find is that doctors don't explain and teach patients. The word doctor means to teach. And I always explain to patients their blood test. And it's not what the range is what the optimal level is. And so I'll have her send out a little description on what you want your GFR to be and your BUN and creatinine. And because you've got to drink plenty of water, plenty of good water. If you're drinking water with toxins, you're destroying the functionality of your kidney. And so you've got to drink good purified water that doesn't have toxicity. But this is a great thing. Now, I add things to it. I usually use a homeopathic kidney formula to restore the kidney. And so I usually give that. So I have several kidney products that I because I have patients that have very bad kidney function. And so I have to give them things to regenerate and restore the functionality of the kidney. So the dry brush, that is something that anyone can do on a regular basis, is dry brushing. You start at the feet, and we have a handout. You start at the feet and you work up to your heart. But this is a great way to stimulate circulation, to cleanse your body, to activate the lymph tissue and activate organs. And so, this brush is very like inexpensive, but the power of it is amazing what it can do. So it's something you can do, like if you're doing sonotherapy, you do that before. You start with your feet and you work towards your heart. So that is a great little practice to do. Okay. All right, you're going to put on the little video because we had Gita who does all of our skin stuff. And she did a whole little thing. So vitamin C and E, those are antioxidants. And so we are, as you know, our skin is probably one of our largest organs. I think it's really the fascia. But anyway, the skin is taking in everything in our faces out. So this is a great serum and protection for your face. So because vitamin C and E are both antioxidants.
Hi, this is Gita from Center for New Medicine. Today we're going to talk about one of our favorite skin line here at the center. That's Eminence Organic Skincare. I would like to talk to you about 3 of the favorite products that Dr. Connealy uses. The Citrus and Kale Serum. This serum would help to brighten your skin, and it's also anti-aging. It's lightly absorbed and it leaves your skin hydrated, and it will brighten the skin. The Rosehip Triple CNE oil is one of my favorite products, as well as Dr. Connealy's. It's a light form of vitamin C. It absorbs easily, and it would help your skin to feel hydrated, light finish, and it will firm and hydrate your skin. The Marine Flower Peptide Eye Cream helps to build collagen, helps with dark circles, puffiness, and of course anti-aging, helps with wrinkles. A lightweight eye cream, but highly effective. Please go ahead and give them a try.
I think vitamin C also, like I have a lot of patients who have actinic keratosis, and they also have like precancerous lesions, and I will use a super potent topical vitamin C that we make here at the center. It's like 20% vitamin C. So that's also available for actinic keratosis because that can go away. Now, I have my hydrogen water bottle here. So this is one thing that everyone should invest in their health. And this is a great gift also to give someone. So hydrogen is the smallest molecule. And hydrogen is the ultimate antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. It's amazing, synergistic with chemo. They have studies where it enhances the effectiveness of chemo. It's great for your skin. It's great IV. It's great for drinking. I mean, this is something that everyone needs every day with the incredible amount of pollution and free radicals that our body is making. And so this hydrogen water, it's been studied for a very, very long time. If you want to know about further studies of hydrogen, if you go to molecularhydrogen.org, I think it is, I'll make sure that Ryan has the exact website, but there isn't anything from weight loss to energy to brain fog to if you're taking medicines, you need to be, protecting your mitochondria. If you're doing chemotherapy, all of our patients who are doing chemotherapy, they all take hydrogen water. If they don't have the hydrogen water bottle, we have them do the tablets. I personally don't like the taste of the tablets. I will do it, but I prefer the hydrogen water. We also have the Izumio Japanese water, but that gets expensive. You do a couple of them every day. Now the Polaroid disc, this is a disc from Europe, and it's based upon the work of Nikola Tesla and Charles Bukowski. And Charles Bukowski wrote the book, The Secret of Life. I would highly recommend every single person go on YouTube and watch The Secret of Life YouTube. It's like a summary of his book. I bought the book years ago, and I have the hardbound book. And it talks about how we as humans are receivers and transmitters of energy. And so this Polaroid disc, you can see the concentric rings. It's to balance the energy, which are the 7 chakras in our body. And you start with the top chakra on your head, and then you go to your third eye, and then you go to your thyroid, your heart, then above your umbilicus, below your umbilicus, and your pelvic region. A lot of our doctors wear them in their pockets. I have one next to my computer where I work. When I fly, I always utilize it. And because flying is very, energetically disruptive with, flying in the extreme, 38,000 feet. And it's very stressful. Plus there's tons of electromagnetic fields when you fly. So this is amazing thing. It's so simple and inexpensive, but I'm telling you, if you go read the reviews, it is staggering on the benefits of what it does, because it's all about balancing energies. That's what illness is the energy gets disrupted. I mean, look what your mitochondria do. They make ATP, which is energy. So how do you get sick? Is your mitochondria, which are your powerhouse engines of the cell. You get this pollutant, this heavy metal, this bug, this stress, and you get destruction of your mitochondria. And if anything you want to do is you want to preserve your mitochondria every single day. And as we age, we don't have, after 30, we start aging. And so we don't have the equipment that we had when we were 10 and 15 and 20 years old. So one of the things I put in my coffee every day is this raw honey. And I love this company because Tropical Traditions, because they are so careful about how they source everything and how they really scrutinize their products. They don't have tons of products, but they have we get their coconut oil and we get their raw honey. And so raw honey is full of all kinds of nutrients, enzymes, and it is amazing for the gut. It's just something that you shouldn't have any reservation about, eating on a daily basis. But I put it in about a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon in my coffee every day. Now, macadamia nut butter, one of the places that I love to go and visit is Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And I found this macadamia nut butter, and macadamia nuts, I love them. And this is a butter that is, once you try it, I mean, the girls here, they're like, okay, when are you going to Mexico to get more macadamia nuts? So anyway, this is a great little treat for you to have. And since fats, don't really elevate your blood sugar, it's a great, you feel satisfied when you eat this. Now the coconut oil, coconut oil is good for oil pulling. It's good for cooking with. It's good for your skin. It's one of those also very multi-purpose substances. I've had patients use it for constipation. Coconut oil is one of those also multifunctional substances that you should have in your kitchen, whether you're cooking, whether you have a burn, all kinds of things. And then coffee. I love coffee, and I drink 1 cup of organic coffee every day. And I try coffees all the time. I try everywhere I go. I always try to buy coffee, and I try them and experiment with them. And it's interesting because recently I did this. I was at Whole Foods and they had this coffee, and I said, okay, I'm going to try it. Then a company sent me some coffee and I tried that, and I'm like, okay, I always go back to this. So they have the breakfast blend and they have the Java. I think it's called the Java, right? Anyway, and so I always go back to, I'm like, this is an amazing coffee. And so if you have any ideas of great organic coffees, please share them with us, because who doesn't love their sacred ritual of having a cup of coffee in the morning? So, is that it, girls? Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to answer some questions.
Well, you got to make your announcement.
Oh, yes. Okay. So we have some interesting news, because some of my patients, they don't have cancer because they've been seeing me for a long time. And they said, Dr. Connealy, I refer so many people to watch the cancer conversation, but they're like, they don't have cancer. They're like, oh my God, cancer scares me. And I'm like, okay, we've got to change the name so we make it all inclusive about being optimized, human optimization, to cancer, to autoimmune, to diabetes, to heart disease, dementia, to anything, because the information that we have here is so cutting edge. And we are constantly evolving here because we collaborate and cooperate with not only ourselves, but with people, doctors all over the world. We don't just use the United States. I have doctor friends in Germany, India, Japan, Austria, Greece, all over the world. And so if I I love that I have these connections because we need to do everything and anything and everything to help this patient get well. In fact, I had a brand new couple come in today, and they've been all over the world because they have some unique medical problems. And so they finally ended up at our clinic after going to many integrative clinics already in the United States, but also in Austria and Switzerland and Germany. And so now they are still not completely well. So now they've come here to see what else that they can do. And so we are constantly searching the world, and actually one of our speakers next year will be an interventional radiologist who does intratumoral ablation. So, and this information is valuable to every single one. We all need to continue to learn and study about the human mind, body, and spirit and become experts on ourselves so we can help ourselves but also help others. So we decided to change the name of Cancer Conversation to Perfectly Healthy. So I came up with that name, believe it or not, probably, 25 years ago, probably. And so, so I hope you like it and you're more than happy to share. But that's really, we want to. I always, when I do podcasts today, I say if a doctor's truly seeing a patient, they should be de-diagnosing the patient and make the patient perfectly healthy. And so I know when patients come here that's what they say we do for them, is that we have restored their body to function and to regenerative capacity, that it's healing itself. And so I want us to continue to do that. And we will be launching for January 2024 the Perfectly Healthy
2025.
Oh, 2025. Oh, that's right. 2025. Right. So anyway, so we'll be talking about everything. I mean, one area that it's funny that I know when I just received a imaging of a patient, she was complaining, she lives in Dallas, and she was complaining of her leg and her heel. And so I ordered imaging for her Achilles heel. And then I'm like, oh gosh, wow, she's got some significant problems. So then my head went strictly like, okay, how are we going to do this without surgery? And so anyway, so I'm going to share it with one of my other practitioners because Brandy's an expert in doing prolozone, PRP, exosomes, all different things, regeneration. Plus we use the cell sonic machine to cause regeneration, because all it is like a starfish, allows to regenerate one of its legs, right? So our body can do that too. Our body has this invincible innate ability to heal itself. So we just need to turn it on, and we have regeneration field is growing like crazy. And so, that would be a great topic to talk about too. So, so questions. I know one of the patients asked, how does the Grail Gallery cancer screening test compare to RGCC or Natera? I'm a breast cancer conqueror. That's amazing. Congratulations. Is this something I should have in my arsenal of recurrence or screening? And no, absolutely not. Do not waste $1,000. You should have the RGCC. You should have regular Natera if you've had a history. I don't know what year you have been diagnosed, but we usually do Signatera or Natera every month, every 3 months, 6 months, depending on where you are. If you're 5 years out, I would only do it probably once a year. But the RGCC, if you want to do circulating tumor cells, I would recommend you do the panel called OncoTrace, because it has special markers on there. And then on top of that, I don't know if you're a patient here or not, but I would do the bioimmune survey also as part of your routine testing and blood work. So because you not only want to prevent breast cancer, you want to prevent all cancers. So because once you have cancer, you're higher risk for the same cancer and a secondary cancer. In fact, I was just reading a scientific report, that people who had chemotherapy for Hodgkin's were higher risk for, another cancer. But that's the case in all cancers. So So today, cancer rates are 1 in 2 people. They're exploding in young people. And we need to be more focused on precise prevention as opposed to treatment. And then if you've been diagnosed, relying on just surgery, chemo, and radiation and smart drugs like immunotherapy, that does not change the terrain or the garden that the cancer came in. And when you do surgery, when you do chemotherapy, when you do radiation, when you do immunotherapy, you damage every single cell in your body. All of those processes are injurious, immunosuppressive, inflammatory. So if you're doing all those without, again, a counterprotective plan, then you can't survive and keep your body optimal and prevent cancer coming back. So and there's no like 100% with surgery or 100% cure rate with chemo, 100% cure rate with any protocol, right? You must address the function of your entire body and nutritional deficiencies and toxicity and heavy metals and viruses, bacteria, fungi, parasites, mitochondria, etc. So you've got to get your body in homeostasis and absolutely every cell having the energy it needs to take care of yourself. So that's the answer to that question. How do you have a regime that can lower the amount of chemo I consume? That's a great question. So first of all, you can ask your doctor, okay? So typically they have recipes for chemotherapy for each patient, okay? They follow what they call the NCCN guidelines. And so those are guidelines that every patient, if you have this cancer, this is what you get. So in fact, a patient of mine called me yesterday and she came to see me in July. And then I was curious. I'm like, oh, what happened to her? And she's a 42-year-old with colorectal cancer. And she has a 1-year-old, 3-year-old. And she had cancer in her colorectal area and metastasis to her liver. And then I told her, I said, well, why did they do surgery when you had liver mets? And she goes, oh, they just did the surgery and then they did the chemo. And I said, well, we should have shrunk everything first and then done the surgery. So anyway, then she said, Dr. Connealy, I'm going to go to MD Anderson, I'm from Houston, Texas, so I know all about MD Anderson. It's like a city, and it's a maze of buildings and offices. And so she went to 6 different institutions. And so then she called me yesterday and she goes, oh my gosh, Dr. Connealy, every single institution told me the exact same thing. And she said, I should have listened to you in the beginning. And I finally listened to you after going to all these places. And she said, you can't get the truth out there. And so she has finally I recommended her to do histotripsy, which is this new treatment on the liver that they can, with histotripsy, it's like sound where they go after each spot. So we have to look at ways to preserve the patient because she already had surgery, already had lots of chemo. And so you can only do so much chemotherapy. And then, chemotherapy doesn't work all the time. So you have to address the chemo resistance, and that's kind of where she is now. So if you want to change the chemo dose, you can ask the doctor if he or she will give you a lower dose. Tell them that you have a very sensitive system and you can handle normal, typical doses. That's what I would do. And, a lot of them will. And then if you don't have a doctor that listens to you, you need to go to a doctor that does listen to you. So because frequently I have patients where they had problems and complaints, and then at 6 months, 9 months later, the doctor's finally ordering testing. And so, don't wait, and so, don't wait if you have something, go to a doctor who's going to get to the bottom line. So this is a patient. I had radiation 2 years ago for Gleason score 3 out of 4 prostate cancer. My PSA is 0.03 or undetectable, checked every 3 months. Congratulations. My testosterone levels are near the bottom of normal. How safe it is to take replacement therapy at this point? Well, as you know, testosterone may feed prostate cancer, but what I would do, if you can work with a physician, because testosterone affects every single cell in your body. It affects your brain, your bones, your heart, your liver, your blood sugar level. There's not anything that it doesn't address. And so it's very, very important to have some testosterone. So what I've done is I do a full evaluation, check the patient, make sure they're really cancer-free in my estimation. And then what I do is I'll give them a small dose of it and see how they do, and then check their PSA monthly, not every 3 months, but right away, to see if there's any kind of effect of it changing the PSA. Because, testosterone doesn't cause prostate cancer, right? The only armamentarium we have for prostate cancer, besides prostatectomy, radiation, now they have laser ablation of tumors if it's small enough. But I try to keep the testosterone levels in a good level. And so, but if you have stage 4, the treatment, if you have advanced prostate disease and it's traveled outside of its original location, they will give you androgen blockade, either in a pill or an injection like Lupron. And so that shuts down the testosterone component of the prostate cancer. But it's not always, because we find that men get prostate cancer when actually testosterone level is low. And so it's not the absolute cause of prostate cancer at all. In fact, they say giving testosterone does not increase your risk of prostate cancer. So I think what you have to do is closely work with a physician who can monitor you. But, a lot of people think they use, I don't use PSA as my benchmark that you are good, okay? Now that's what the typical doctors do. But at our clinic, that's not what we do. We don't use numbers and papers and images to determine patients' health and their status. We go down because you are a whole body system. So you got to make sure that every single cell is working for you. And you're working on false premises by just saying my PSA is 0.03. Okay, that's what a typical doctor does. But once a doctor knows the intricacies of how the body works, that's not all they check. What is your C-reactive protein? What's your vitamin D? What's your hemoglobin A1C? What are your toxins? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't want you to just focus on that your PSA is good, and I'm glad that's just 1/100th of what we should be addressing, okay? So, but I would definitely, once I know you would be good, I would be more than happy to try a little bit of testosterone on a patient like this, So I am 10 years out from breast cancer, ER positive, PR positive with high Ki-67. So for people who don't know what Ki-67 is the proliferative index. That's how fast it's replicating. Ideal is less than 10, and then everything above that is higher. So, and it can go up to, I think the highest I've seen on the Ki-67 is 95%. So this patient had chemo and radiation and was on letrozole. Letrozole is an estrogen blocker for 10 years. I know the cancer can metastasize at any time, and I thought with all my research that I would have a plan for if that happened, but I don't. There is so much out there that I don't even know where I would start. Oncologists would offer more chemo and a pill. I don't want to just have more time. I want to conquer this if possible, or just live my life with it and not die from it. Where would I start? You would start by reading my book, and you would start by coming here and visit one of our practitioners, and you would know, and you would verify what's going on with you and not waiting for the shoe to drop. So you're lucky that everything is good right now, but now you need to verify. But read my book, and that will be the roadmap, and then listen to the Perfectly Healthy conversation or webinar or whatever. And you will learn so much, and you'll learn how to, people have taken my book and really healed themselves. So you probably need a little bit more than that. So you should make a trip and invest in yourself and get yourself well, because Who wants homo interruptus, right? Okay, so this patient, what is your opinion on HARP? It must be PARP inhibitor drugs, not HARP, but PARP. I have a friend who had a complete hysterectomy and is finishing up her last chemo treatment this week, and her doctor wants to put her on a PARP inhibitor, but she has read about the many side effects. So, there's a price to pay for every drug that you take. And so I know, because I had a patient today with ovarian cancer, and her doctor told her to go on the PARP inhibitor for 2 years. She's been on it for 1 year almost. She has a 19-year-old and a 7-year-old. She's a single mom, so she's very concerned about making sure she does everything. So I tell people, like, it may be necessary. I don't know all the details of this case, so it sounds like she had some female cancer, either endometrial or ovarian or fallopian tube, whatever. And so I might do it. I'd have to look at the pathology. I have to look at many different things. If she had chemo, so it must have been pretty invasive if she had chemo treatment. So if you go on a PARP inhibitor, what you have to do is take all the protection because what happens, these drugs intoxicate the cell. And so inside the cell, we have something called glutathione and superoxide dismutase. So glutathione is our master antioxidant that goes around and kills everything bad, like every chemical that we're into. So you want really good glutathione levels. Everyone wants good glutathione levels. And I remember it has to do with your aging, and you can actually quantitatively check your glutathione actually in serum, like in a LabCorp test. And I do it on a test called NutrEval, which is a test. So you really want know your glutathione levels, because I remember I had this doctor come in and he brought his mother, and she was 92 years old, and I couldn't believe how she was 92 and she had like amazing glutathione levels. I go, no wonder she's 92. She's destroying all these chemicals that she had in her body. So you want to know your glutathione levels because that neutralizes toxicity. But the other thing is SOD. So we use SOD all the time for chemotherapy because it's a toxin, and these are very significant toxins. Like the drugs, the PARP inhibitors, they're significant. It's not like you're taking a doxycycline antibiotic or we're taking a blood pressure pill. These are very toxic substances. So I give my patients SOD to clean out, keep the garbage being, cleaned out of the cell. So if you're exposed to chemo, radiation, or a medication like that, you're going to need to take lots of extra SOD to detoxify the cell because, it's damaging the mitochondria. Let's face it, this drug is destroying the mitochondria. The mitochondria is what protects you and keeps you alive with any disease. I don't care if you're talking about MS, ALS, cancer, heart disease, dementia. You got to have your mitochondria working for you. So like this particular patient today who was on the PARP inhibitor, she didn't have any side effects, but she has this amazing plan that she's doing at home. And so, that's the difference between a doctor who is paying attention to what they're prescribing to their patient and how they're protecting themselves. All right, is that the last question? Yeah.
There's some in the chat.
Oh. Now, what amount of minerals should be added back to reverse osmosis water? So what I use is fulvic minerals that have algae in them, and so I can put that in the communication with the trace minerals. So I use liquid minerals, so usually I do a green juice and then I put my fulvic trace minerals in there. And then I use silica in the water. I put my vitamin C drops, and I put my bees all in a green juice. And so that's what I do. So you want to make sure everyone needs to make sure they have plenty of minerals, because minerals make vitamins work. And we don't have the minerals because we don't have enough regenerative agriculture to make sure the soils are loaded with minerals. So make sure most people are mineral deficient. Now, there are some pills. Standard Process makes a trace mineral product that's very good. That company's been around for 100 years. It's great. And then there's some sea minerals. We have Intramin. There's several of them. But one thing, everyone you want to make sure you have is plenty of minerals. And I would say that most people are deficient. Now, we do a test in the clinic that we check the mineral vitamins and minerals through a spectrophotometer. So you take your palm of your hand and you put this machine in chemistry called a spectrophotometer, and it looks at the intracellular analysis of your vitamins. It also detects heavy metals. So that's something that we do on every single patient. So if you haven't had that done, that's something we'd want to have done. Now, this is a great question. Patty asked us, how do you test your mitochondria? Well, through the NutriVal, there is a blood test that kind of tests your mitochondria, okay? But I'm under the impression that there's never, every test I've looked into for mitochondria, I haven't really found something that's like, oh God, this nails it, right? Now there's a new one that I'm researching. I'm not done it. I haven't recommended it because I always do so much due diligence before I recommend a product or a test or anything. And so there isn't the perfect test, but the NutriVal does. It's a blood and urine test, fasting blood and urine test done by a lab called Genova. So that tells me kind of your best assessment so far that I know today on mitochondrial function. So Medicare, believe it or not, pays for that test. So if you're Medicare, it would be a great test. And I think the cash price is like $295. It's not that expensive. It's like a 10-page test. So it checks your omegas, your vitamins, your minerals, your gut, your heavy metals, your red blood cells. So it's a very comprehensive testing. So that is something you could do to check your mitochondria, but that's a great question. I think in the near future, we are going to have good testing to check our mitochondria better. So stay tuned. When to take the chlorine dioxide drops. So no, you always take chlorine dioxide away from everything else. So what I do is when I get to the office in the morning, before I start seeing my first patient, I put the drops in my water and I drink a gulp. I was doing it twice a day. I'm only doing it once a day. And so I just feel that's all I need. I was doing it heavily, regularly twice a day, like when I came to work and when I went home, because you want it away from digestion, like 30 minutes away from digestion, away from your other vitamins, minerals, C, and everything. It should be the only thing that you do. So, but it's simple, just drops in your water. And it's an amazing substance that I've used for a very, very long time. And it's great for teeth cleaning also. And if you have gum disease or receding gums, this is an amazing substance because a lot of people who have heart issues have teeth issues. And as we age, the immune system and the microbiome of our mouth is not as great. So this is makes amazing to clean your teeth. Is bone broth collagen protein powder from Paleo Valley safe if one is trying to minimize L-arginine consumption? That's a good question. I would contact the company. It's probably okay. Yes, but you're more concerned about sugar and glutamine. And so arginine is in protein, it's in a lot of things. So I would call the company to see, they probably can give you an analysis of the arginine consumption. And you're probably not doing too much, that it's going to, there's many other factors besides, just the arginine. So I wouldn't, I wouldn't be that overly concerned about that. My mom was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, signal cell, completed fulvitis being worked up for HIPAC. Wow. Any recommendation? Yeah, many. many. Yeah. So we already know that her microbiome isn't good. I don't know how old your mom is, but she's probably at a time where, you're 75-80% of your immune system is in your gut. So that's something you should be working on all the time. All of us, every one of us, okay? And so, because that's where the immune system is. There's a great book called Disease Starts in the Gut, or Disease Starts in something like that. But anyway, it's worthwhile reading. But your immune system, you have many components to your immune system besides the gut. You know, your tonsils, your spleen, your lymph glands, your Peyer's patches. All of those are part of your immune system. You have your thymus gland, your bone marrow. Those are all of those need to be taken care of. So because she's getting chemo, okay, she should be on the hydrogen water. She should be on liquid Intramax, liquid intraminerals. She needs to be on vitamin C twice a day. She should be on IV vitamin C. She should be on something to detox the chemo like carbon 60. She needs to be on something for the acidity of the cancer and the chemo. She needs to be on pancreatic enzymes. She probably needs some emotional work because this is very, very stressful. And that's kind of, and something for the immune system like the Ganoderma or the BRM4. Those are two. That's a product that I use from Japan. So one of those two products for the immune system, because when you take chemotherapy, think what you're doing. You're destroying the functionality of not only cancer but every cell. So that means every single cell of every organ is being affected. You're destroying your microbiome. You're creating acidity. You're creating toxicity. I mean, it just goes on and on. So any doctor who is not counterbalancing the patient is not doing their job. And this is written on PubMed. All you have to do is look up at the tumor microenvironment. All of this is online. And so every doctor who's not addressing blood sugar, vitamin D, inflammation, toxicity, heavy metals, viruses, bacteria, fungi, parasites, acidity, all the things that are part of the cancer, tumor microenvironment, the terrain, then we're not taking care of the patient. This is just really the bottom line. So, because patients all the time tell me, oh, my doctor doesn't want me to do hyperbaric. Oh, they don't want me to do IV vitamin C. Well, a study was just published a week or so ago. IV vitamin C in pancreatic cancer patient, which the fatality rate is 90% in the first year, that it tripled their lifetime. So IV vitamin C, we've been doing at the clinic for about 35 years. And so I have never seen it hurt or harm anyone, only enhance someone's life, whether they have cancer or don't have cancer. And so vitamin C, look up the work of Linus Pauling. He was the most amazing man, talked about vitamin C for years and years and years, and you'll see the efficacy of vitamin C. It is the antidote to everything. Make sure your kids are taking vitamin C, you're taking vitamin C. Everyone should be taking vitamin C every day if we want to live in the country that we have created today. So, is glutamine not safe to take for gastritis? Well, I don't know. I'm not sure what else you have to take. But if you have gastritis, you want to be drinking aloe vera, organic aloe vera, 2 ounces twice a day. And you want to take something called Heartburn Ease. Heartburn Ease is made out of slippery elm and deglycerin and licorice, and it will create like a Band-Aid seal of your lining to regenerate the lining. So you will get better, and just make sure the doctor has checked you for a hydrogen breath test for gastritis, for H. pylori. Because H. pylori is in 50% of the population, and you want to make sure you get rid of the H. pylori since it's a bacteria easily eradicated. And I don't use antibiotics for H. pylori. I use another whole protocol. Is there a protein butter you recommend plain, not with stevia? I can't find anything. That is a very good question, because the stevia is in a lot of them. Let's get back to you, because I know this is not the first time that people have asked this. Esther, so write down Esther, okay. Because thank you, Lee and Paula. Thank you so much. My friend with pancreatic cancer has minor thalassemia and therefore can't do high dose vitamin C. So you can do low dose. That's what you should be doing. And lots of hyperbaric, because thalassemia patients have decreased utilization of oxygen. So they should be doing all the things that I told the other patient to do. And like I said, read my book, because someone put Epic Protein, thank you, Donna, unflavored. That's great. Yes, so for the H. pylori, I use mastica gum. Now, sometimes I have to add things to But mastica gum usually works once, twice a day for probably 60 days. Hydrogen water, yeah, you should, well, if you can inhale the hydrogen, we have the patients do that in the clinic here. And hydrogen water can be inhaled. And in fact, you can use this hydrogen water with a nebulizer to put inside your lungs. This is amazing. Yeah. So drinking it, when you get it into your lungs, one, you're protecting your lungs. And then the lungs carries it to the rest of the body. So both of them are good. Now, one of the patients says, is hyperbaric good during chemo and radiation? Absolutely. In fact, the efficacy of radiation is increased by 50% using hyperbaric. So, and then, most patients have anaerobic metabolism. And so anaerobic means without oxygen. So, and then hyperbaric helps the patient receiving chemo regenerate their tissues. Think about it. The more oxygen, that's how you get better with anybody. Let's say you didn't have cancer. Going and doing hyperbaric, you're going to look beautiful when you walk out of there because oxygen makes everything incredible. So the portable is nothing like the real, the real tank. So, it's okay. It's just not like the perfect thing, So the liquid aloe vera I use is Lily of the Desert. That's the one that I use, and I've used that company for years. And then for inhaling hydrogen, we use AquaCure, and I can give you their name and information. I think we have it, so I'll share that with you if you want to. A lot of my patients, I know, they come here and then they create their own little clinic at home. And the AquaCure is one of the things they always get, so. Yes, you can use the GGL mastica gum for H. pylori. Absolutely. Yes, you can. Very good. Excellent. 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 All right. This has been wonderful. And thank you guys for being part of my life journey and supporting the work that we do at Center for New Medicine and Cancer Center for Healing. And we're always open to new ideas and suggestions. So any ideas and suggestions you have. We want to make this for January 2025, we want to make this a very contagious movement to create more and more and more healthy people all over the world. So thank you for partnering with us.